Money means more than dollars and cents. It represents safety, security, opportunity, and the ability to provide for ourselves and the people we love. On the surface, finances may seem straightforward. We earn, we spend, we save. But for many people, managing money is like trying to solve a complicated puzzle without being able to see the picture on the box. Our next guest says true financial wellness comes from understanding how every piece fits together. Investments, savings, insurance, income, retirement planning, taxes, because each one stands on its own. That's why having a trusted financial expert like Donna LaScala can make a huge difference in designing a plan that's tailor-made for your life, especially after divorce. Donna is president of Comprehensive Divorce Solutions in New York. She's also a financial neutral, a certified divorce financial analyst, and member of the Association of Divorce Financial Planners. Donna, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here. Money is often described as one of the most emotionally charged topics in any relationship. Why do conversations about finances become especially difficult between spouses and even more complicated during divorce?
So we all need to understand that still to this day, money is seen as one of the last big taboo topics of conversation, even under normal circumstances. So this idea is really deeply rooted from childhood. So you have to think, what messages did you receive from your parents and other influential adults as a child? Did you hear, oh, we don't talk about money, or you never ask a person how much they earn or what they own? Parents tend not to speak about finances with their children. They don't speak openly about it. And often, children learn about the family finances by either eavesdropping or just overhearing their parents argue about it. So it becomes a topic laced with fear, with shame, and this leads to adults with potentially financial trauma. So two adults coming into a marriage then with these feelings and oftentimes very different value systems around money create an atmosphere that's ripe for conflict. So it's silly then to expect them to be able to negotiate during a divorce. How do individuals do this when they're coming at it from two different directions? And they need to get in touch with their feelings about money before they can be expected to understand this new normal that they're about to enter.
Research from National Numeracy and KPMG found that many women report low confidence when it comes to working with numbers, despite the fact 79 million women make up today's workforce. In your experience, why does that confidence gap still exist, and especially around personal finances?
So I'm so glad we are talking about this topic because, unfortunately, Ilyssa, there are still some societal norms around women and girls and math. So there are myths that exist, and they've existed for a really long time. So let's start with one of my favorites. Myth number one, girls aren't good with numbers. And this really drives me crazy because when girls are young, the education system subtly pushes them towards language, arts, and history, while boys are openly encouraged to lean towards math and the sciences. And while this is changing, it's not changing fast enough, and it's still a deeply rooted misconception that boys are better in these areas. So another one of these myths is girls are risk averse. So this generalization pushes adult women to believe that they should be more conservative in their investing strategies. And that can potentially lead them to setting themselves up for failure as opposed to their male counterparts who are taking calculated risks because they've been trained to do so. And these risks can have big payoffs. Yeah, they can also have big losses, but the theory behind it is the younger you are, the riskier you can be. So these opposing styles of men and women and the way they think about money, and as you said in the intro, we think about money as safety and security, and that's really more a woman thing than it is a man thing. Men tend to think about money as power, control, a means to an end. And so these styles can be very harmful in a relationship, not only in a marriage, but certainly when you're facing divorce.
Let's talk about the practical side of money during divorce. As a certified divorce financial analyst, what are the most important financial realities women should understand at the beginning of the divorce process? And why can that knowledge make a huge difference during negotiations?
So first and foremost, having full disclosure of all assets, debts, income, it's of the utmost importance because even before the divorce process starts. So gaining a clear understanding of what all of that means, how it operates, what the rules are, and when it comes to distribution of assets, debts, and income, the biggest hurdle that people face is not having a clear picture, especially if one of the parties hasn't been as involved in the handling of the family finances as the other. So, in a relationship, well, it was the husband's responsibility to do all the investing and the finances, and the woman was in control of something else. So, if the person not handling the finances has a huge learning curve, this needs to really be dealt with even before the process starts, because negotiations really cannot proceed until both people are fully informed about what is going on and what they're actually negotiating for. You can't really make an informed decision if you don't have all the information. It's just common sense.
Many people entering divorce, as you just started to allude to, may have not handled the household finances during the marriage. And that's very common, especially with women. They usually relinquish a lot of that to the men because they're juggling all the other responsibilities that make up the home. So what resources, tools, or even first steps can someone find to build financial confidence and feel more empowered in the process?
All right. So as I mentioned, getting full disclosure is crucial. So that's really step number one. And this means getting copies of statements, tax returns, credit reports, for your bank, for your investments, for your retirement plans, for the house, for everything that you have. You need to get all the paper documentation. So obtaining all of this, it's kind of like the pieces of that jigsaw puzzle that you said. If you can't see the picture on the box, how do you know where the pieces fit? So you need to put all these pieces together so that you can build the current financial picture. Secondly, working with an expert like a CDFA. That really should happen before you even consider getting divorced, because this type of person can work with you to help you gather those puzzle pieces and then put them together to look like the current picture. This can be very empowering, and it's a huge resource to individuals who feel like they don't know really what's going on. This person, the CDFA, can also help you put those pieces together, have them make sense, let you see where you currently are, but then assist you in taking it apart and reassembling it so that you actually can see what the new post-divorce financial picture is going to look like. I call it running through scenarios. Well, if all of these things happen, then this is what your picture is going to look like. Let's move the pieces around. But then if all of those things happen, let's assemble those pieces and see what the picture is going to look like. And people have a better idea then of what's about to happen and what they need to do in the process. It is very empowering to be able to see it.
You also serve as a financial neutral, helping couples work towards fair resolutions during a divorce. Why is it so important to understand the emotions and thought process driving financial decisions, and how can unresolved financial stress affect someone's mental and emotional well-being?
So this really is huge. Understanding the why is very important for me when I'm working with either an individual or a couple during their divorce. Because if I don't understand why they're doing something, I can't really help them. The financial fear, the shame, the anxiety that people carry definitely affects their ability to negotiate. But more importantly, it will follow them into their new life and potentially sabotage their ability to be successful going forward. So if you don't resolve what's currently freaking you out, you don't understand why it's freaking you out, you're going to carry that with you going forward, and you're not going to be able to be successful. So, for example, if I don't understand why someone is driving to hold on to the marital residence, or they're saying, yeah, I don't care, just sell it, I don't care. That means something, and I need to understand what's motivating that. And I can't really help them clearly analyze what their options are and the potential ramifications for making those decisions if I don't understand why they're doing what they're doing. And this can potentially freeze them into an untenable position. They won't be able to move forward. It stalls the divorce process. Divorce is stressful. No one is going to deny that. But then when you add unresolved stress about money and finances, you absolutely affect the individual's emotional well-being and their ability to get past this point of their lives, which is extremely emotional from the get-go.
Divorce is not just legal or even a financial transition. It's an emotional one as well. And with May being Mental Health Awareness Month, what are some of the most common emotional challenges people face when dealing with the financial side of divorce?
Well, I'm going to use a 4-letter word, and that 4-letter word is fear. Fear is the single biggest challenge for people making the transition from married to single. They're afraid of the unknown. It's a fear caused by lack of self-confidence in some cases. It can be a fear of going it alone. It can be a fear of not having enough resources. And people get paralyzed by this fear, and they're unable to see a clear path forward. And they can't even picture what their post-divorce life is going to look like. So they're incapable of making decisions. Even with all the information, if there is an overwhelming fear of everything that's being discussed, I had a client call me yesterday and said, could we please talk for a few minutes? I woke up in the middle of the night, and she went on to tell me a whole story. And I said, okay, let's unbundle this right now. Let's talk about what could happen, what potentially could happen, what might never happen, and what the actual reality is. And as we talked it all through, it was just really addressing her fear of the what if, because it wasn't actually happening. She was just afraid of what might happen. Working with skilled professionals, both a mental health type of professional and a financial professional, really can help make a positive, successful transition for an individual. Because, like I said before, that fear, and a mental health professional will tell you, it's called the amygdala hijack. The amygdala is part of the brain that has that fight or flight response. And when you are overwhelmed with fear about the unknown or fear and lack of self-confidence, your brain just kind of shuts down. Therefore, it makes you incapable of making a clear, informed decision, and that halts the entire process.
Donna, for people who want to learn more, how do they get in touch with you?
Easiest way is to call me at 516-234-7522.
Donna LaScala, President of Comprehensive Divorce Solutions, thank you so much for joining us. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back after this commercial break.
At Comprehensive Divorce Solutions, Donna LaScala provides the tools for people to deal with assets, debts, equitable distribution, and retirement in divorce negotiations. We hold your hand during and after the divorce process, providing a roadmap of what happens next and into the future. Divorce is difficult whether you're initiating it or not. It's fraught with emotion. When you deal with emotions, you are not dealing with logic, making it more difficult to decide what to do with your money. Hiring a professional to assist you in walking down the money path is crucial to avoiding potentially costly mistakes. Donna's goal is to make sure that each individual knows how they are going to be able to survive and thrive during and after divorce. As a CDFA-trained mediator and collaborative financial neutral, Donna helps people get unstuck and move forward towards their post-divorce future. Call Donna LaScala at 516-218-6919, 516-218-6919.